Did you make the promise? This year, my dog is gonna become the best behaving mutt on the block. Have you already postponed the starting, or did you already stop? Do you know why that happened? Or are you completely clueless? Are you blaming yourself? Or did you thought, okay, I will start later because life happened? I think we need to take this idea and reframe it a little bit, because otherwise you just bought yourself one-way ticket to failure. You put too much pressure on yourself, and then what you do, you start feeling shame and you start feeling bad about your decision that you didn't make through, and then you just leave the whole project there. So let's not do that. Let's just reframe everything and make our lives a little bit better. So what can we actually do to make the idea of having a nicely behaving dog at the end of this year to become true? We can start planning. And that means that we need to have pen and paper and a little bit of time and a schedule. It doesn't mean that you have to be tied to the schedule all year around, every single day, because sometimes life happens. Might be that you need to work one day extremely long hours, might be that your children are sick, might be that somebody dies. Anything can happen during the life. But a proper plan will take that mental stress that you have away from you. It is like if you want to run a marathon, you need to plan for it. You cannot just take your whatever shoes you have and whatever clothes you have and just start running for 42 kilometers. Doesn't work like that. You can certainly try, but I guess that most of us would have to just quit at some point, because we're not built to do that. If we plan, however, properly, and we train and we have all the things that we need to make that kind of trip, a big part of us could do that kind of extreme sports event. I know I cannot. My hips probably will collapse around 15, 16 kilometers, but that's a different thing. But even I could do multiple kilometers if I would train for them. At the moment, with my physical condition, the only thing that I can run after are my children or a nice cook. Anyway, the planning is the key. So take a pen, look at your calendar, find 5 minutes 2 to 3 times a day. If you cannot find 3, then 2. Just 5 minutes. It's enough. And put those blocks in your calendar, and that is your training time. Then you need to choose the behavior you want to train. You cannot just say, I'm going to go training, if you don't know what you're going to train. You don't get nowhere because you don't have a clear goal. Let's say you want to teach eye contact. So you write eye contact, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And then you prepare the treats. You need to have good treats. You need to have, let's say, 10, 15 choices that you pre-test with your dog to see if he likes them. They need to be good size. They cannot be too big. If the dog needs to chew them, they are too big. Because then the chewing takes the mind somewhere else. Maybe he sees a squirrel or hears a sound while he's chewing, and he gets kind of reinforcement from the treat in his mouth to whatever he's saying. So the treats need to be small. They need to be prepped properly. We can have a video about it later on, so you can actually see how I do this thing. But treats ready, and you need to understand something that works inside most likely will not work outside, because outside we have a lot more things happening, and it is far more interesting. the place where you train. You need to start in some place that the dog is comfortable, where there are not too many distractions. If you have multiple animals, the other animals need to be put into some other area at the moment. Children cannot be running around, TV cannot be on. Something very, very simple. Like, think about a classroom full of students. When they have to have a test, everybody needs to be quiet, and there cannot be things happening around, because otherwise nobody can't concentrate. So the same thing goes for a dog. You need to prepare. But the most important part of the preparing is your mental state. You need to have a good mental state about what before you start the training. Because if you're feeling like crap, you cannot train. It is simple like that. You don't get any good outcome if you're feeling anxious, and your dog will read you like a book. He will only say, Mommy's anxious. I think I have to be anxious too. I definitely am not going to listen to whatever she's saying, because I can feel this energy right here. So you need to be calm. If you're not calm, do not train. Don't do it. It's waste of time. It's actually worse than waste of time. It will just get you further away from your goal. The second thing is to actually know what you're training. So if it's eye contact, it is eye contact. If I choose the place like a living room, it is eye contact in the living room, not in the bedroom, not in the bathroom, not outside. It is only in the living room. That is the starting point. You write down your repetitions. You write down the trees you have. You write down the place where you trained, and then you keep track. And little by little by little by little by little, you get better and better and better. This is the way you start seeing results. And when you have a plan like this that has easy enough steps for you to take, your mood is lighter, you do it more voluntarily, it is boring. Everybody wants to have the quick abs method. I know if I start ab training, I'm going to be looking after the first 15-minute session or 10-minute or whatever I'm doing if I can see my abs. Obviously, they're not going to be there. I cannot see them, but I'm still looking. And it is the same with the dog training. We want to see instant results, but instant results will not happen. When the behavior is good in some place, for example, the living room, then we take it somewhere else. And when we take it somewhere else, we need to think about other factors. We need to think about, did the environment change? Is it too difficult now? Is it a little bit more difficult? Can I try to train here? Do I need to ask a little bit less, like fewer repetitions? Do I have to have better treats? Do I maybe have to go one step back? So I go to the living room, maybe try one repetition here, then we go back to the safe place. There are all these factors that we need to think. But the mental state and the planning of the behavior are extremely, extremely important. Good tip before you start the training is that you think about something funny. Think about something that makes you always laugh, gets you in the good mood. Look a little bit of stand-up comedy. Think about a moment that made you laugh. Think about a moment when somebody flirted with you and you got all red. That lifts up your natural hormones. I'm feeling good hormones, and that is also something that your dog picks up. The training situation should be always fun. When we incorporate play and that kind of good vibe, we learn a lot better. So planning and being in a good mood, it is something that will bring the behaviors closer to you. In the next video, we can go into detail about all of the things you need to learn, and we can actually look how I do things when I train. So you have a proper idea how to choose the treats, what kind of equipment I need to have, and then we get to the goals better. I do also have here in my home a very good example of somebody who has not been trained. He joined our family 2.5 years ago. And I said, I'm going to train him. And he's still there living his life very freely. You know, my little dog Otis. So he would also need this kind of a training experience in his life. So I can use him as an example when we go through some of the behaviors that are nice to have for dogs. I hope you enjoyed this little talk. I wish you an extremely good beginning of the new year, and I see you in the next video. If you like this, comment, share, follow, thumbs up, all these things. Bye!